This is Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club, and today I'm designing a layout using the October kit. I have the main kit. I've also got the really lovely embellishment kit, and I couldn't resist the Project Life kit, mainly because of those rainbow alphabets. I'm also designing my layout today based on the November Moodboard. And I've mostly been inspired by the swatch at the bottom right, which is torn paper. It was a scene that goes all the way from top to bottom. So I'm taking the crepe paper hooray paper and I've cut out all of those strips and I'm tearing them in half so that I have two of each with torn edges. And I'm just going to layer those at the top of my paper all the way down in the same order that they were already on the paper. And I've taken a slightly larger pink strip from the larger part of that paper. Yeah, so I'm going to layer that down from the top, from dark down to light. I'm applying tape along the straight edge, and I'm very carefully layering them so that I can just about tuck them under each one. So they're quite narrow because the strips of pattern or colour were only about inch and a bit thick already, so then tearing them in half made them quite slim, so I had to be quite careful where I placed my tape, and you can always see me, there you go again, running my nail underneath it to lift the strip up a little bit so I can tuck the next one in. Okay, so these two at the bottom are a bit, well, they're going to be at the bottom, there they go. They're going to be a bit thicker than the others, and I'm going to raise those up on foam pads to give my layout some dimension. Ordinarily I would have liked to have raised all of the layers on foam pads, but they were just a little bit too skinny for me to do that effectively, so I've just raised up the bottom two. So I now have my lovely torn rainbow background, and I have a picture of some rainbow flowers, and I'm going to scrapbook about those today. So the flowers, the colours in the flowers go beautifully with the colours on the background that I've just created. And also we have tons and tons of those gorgeous Paige Evans Whimsical flowers embellishments, or the ephemera pack just of flowers, I'm using those to layer underneath my photo, but also using the colour on colour technique to add some bits and pieces to the layers of rainbow at the top of the layout. So I'm just tucking in the bits in the same colours. You'll see me in a minute move the whole lot over to the left hand side of the page. I was trying to spread out my embellishments, so I had some on the right hand side and I had my photo down in the bottom left, but that wasn't working for me, so I moved the whole lot over in a moment, and that balances the layout out much better in my opinion. On the mood board as well were some black trees, even though I didn't have any trees in this kit, I decided to go with the stamps. There you go, I'm moving it all over now. I decided to go with the Heidi Swap stamps that came in one of the kits. And I'm adding some black details there. I've added a few hearts over on the right hand side, and now over on the left as well with the other embellishment clusters. I'm also I've stamped them there as well, the flowers that is, directly onto the white cardstock. However, because the white cardstock is textured, they didn't stamp that well. It's always a problem stamping directly onto a textured cardstock. I do it all the time, and every time I curse myself and think, why did I do that? I know it's never going to work. So here I am now stamping those same flowers onto that piece of hooray paper, the pink piece at the bottom that I didn't use, and I'm just going to fussy cut those out, and then I can layer them. So instead of them being directly onto the white background, they're on that pink, and they're cut out, and they're actually much easier to move around and layer up doing it this way. Also, because the cardstock is smooth, they stamp an awful lot better as well. So little tip there, don't stamp onto textured cardstock, it never ever works. I must remember that. I must write it on a post-it note and stick it above on my wall above my head, so I constantly see it when I'm scrapbooking. Anyway, so I'm moving things around. I've also pulled out some ephemera from the Vicky Boutin ephemera kit there. It says how can you ever be bored in a world as beautiful as this, or something like that. So that's works really well with my layout, so I'm placing that above my photo. I'm just getting all my layers stuck down now, so all those flowers that I've got in place, I've stuck the bottom ends, and then I've raised up the the blooms with foam pads so that they all look like they're kind of growing out of my photo, and just adding in a couple more of those flowers as well. I actually fussy cut off some of the leaves and used those too. So now I'm just getting the rest of my embellishments from the rainbow strips all stuck in place as well. I'm tucking them under the layers so that they look like they're coming out of the layers. Again, I'm sticking them flat under the layers and raising them up on foam pads as they come out, just to give them extra dimension, and so it all kind of pops off the page and looks fab. I'm just putting my stamps back there. Yeah, I'm pulling out some of the other stamps. That's the word details, and I've stamped that onto my photo mount, which was a Project Life card actually. And now I'm looking for a title and some other. Oh, first of all, I'm using those chipboard hearts from the One Canoe 2 phrase stickers. They're awesome, and they go with my colours. I'm still working on a whole colour on colour thing here, and now I want the title rainbow because I'm going to call this Rainbow Blooms. So I've gone rainbow in the little rainbow thickers, and I'm taking the word blooms from the gold, beautiful gold thickers, which I love so much. They're the Maggie Holmes ones. My title's in place now, and I'm just going through and adding the last little bits of embellishments. Puffy stickers there by Paige, Whimsical, and the sticker sheet there too. Just getting in as much as I can on a tone-on-tone basis. There's a blue strip that I've just put there at the top. Little flower sticker, enamel dots. I love those enamel dots. They're great. They have lots of different shapes. I'm going through that sticker book too to see if I can find anything that will work as well. Yeah, I decided on that rainbow, those rainbow rub-ons there. You can see I'm just trying to get that in place, and just going to rub that with the lolly stick to get those to stay on the page. So yeah, love that. And I'm not happy with that sticker at the bottom, so I moved that up. It grounds my title better. It doesn't need to really ground the layout at the bottom, and that's just putting another little rub-on detail there. I love all the little tiny cross stitches in the rub-ons. They're really cute, and loads and loads on that rub-on sheet as well actually. So what I just did there was add some machine stitching to my layers. I also went through my title because I always worry that chipboard thickers will fall off. So I tend to stitch them in place if I possibly can, which is what I've done here. And now I'm just pulling through all of my threads to the back, and I'm tying them off to make them all nice and neat so that they won't fall through. And then I can trim off the ends so that my background's nice and neat and I don't have threads everywhere. I have tried to leave threads hanging before, and I just don't like it. So I tend to pull them all through to the back and tidy them up. I'm just finishing off now with my journaling, so I'm writing about the story of these lovely flowers, and that will be my layout complete. Based on that mood board and using the lovely October kits. I really loved doing this layout. I love the way it turned out. So thank you very much for joining me today. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.